All right, welcome back to the SYFYWIRE live stage here at New York Comic-Con. And I believe there's more than a few people here who are excited for our guests right now, right? You guys are excited? And the reason they're excited is because we have the cast and the filmmakers behind Dark Phoenix here with us today. We've got Sophie Turner, AKA Jean Grey, Tye Sheridan, Scott Summers, Slim Summers, producer Hutch Parker, producer-director Simon Kinberg. Thank you guys for being here. I know you guys literally just got in the building. Nice greeting here. Simon, I'm gonna ask you the first question. After seeing the trailer for Dark Phoenix, what the hell's going on with the timeline? Where are we? And why does 1992 look very different than what we've seen in the other movies?
Well, if you watch Days of Future Past, we reset the timeline from the previous movies, partly in order to be able to tell the Dark Phoenix story again, because we didn't feel like we did it total justice in X-Men 3, I'll leave it at that. So 1992 looks different than the rest of the movies because each time we've done one of these films since First Class, that was the 60s, we've jumped about 10 years. So First Class was the 60s, Days of Future Past was 70s, Apocalypse 80s, now we're in the 90s. And so it looks like what the 90s looked like.
Sophie, your character is front and center here. You're the title character in the film. Jean is very angry. There's all sorts of emotion in that trailer. You're angry. You're very emotional. What is going on with her in this story?
Well, a lot is going on with her in this story. She's in this X-Men. You see her very, very conflicted. She goes through waves of emotion. She goes through this continuing theme of abandonment throughout the movie, and she's just kind of struggling with all of that, and it comes out in ways that she wish it didn't. And it's a really emotionally tasking movie, and every scene was like, we're gonna do a really intense scene tomorrow, and then Simon's like, okay, great, now you have a really intense scene on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a really emotional movie for her.
Tye, in the classic Dark Phoenix story that you guys are adapting, Scott Summers is a tortured soul, and he's going through a lot of it because it's the love of his life going through this. Where is Scott's head in this movie, and what you're doing with it, and how tough a role was it to encapsulate all of that?
Yeah, I think the movie's largely about loss and loss of someone that you love, and that's something that Scott Summers, my character, is dealing with greatly, and so is Charles Xavier and the rest of the X-Men. And when Jean Grey kind of, departs and goes on this crazy venture, the X-Men kind of split up. And so you see something that's, you see a lot of conflict between the X-Men, and so, but I think a lot of it is about loss and trying to find her. And, it's, as Simon mentioned, it's 10 years since the last film, and, he's grown a lot. He's now a teacher at the school. And we're just trying to bring her home.
I'm glad you brought up Charles Xavier, because the trailer proves once again that, man, he's a lousy teacher in the X-Men world. Everyone's mad at him. Beast is furious with him. You're mad at him. You're mad at him. Hutch, is this movie about kind of pointing out all the flaws that Charles Xavier has and all the mistakes he's made?
Well, not as much as you might think, but it is an element of it that I think is really interesting, that Simon wanted to explore, is looking at the responsibility that a leader or a father has as his children or the X-Men are confronting all the different kinds of issues that they find themselves confronting. And it's not easy to get it right. And there's a lot that Charles has to grapple with, a lot he's got to confront and he's got to own in the course of this story.
Let's talk about the funeral scene that we got a sneak peek of in the trailer. Look at, they're all climbing up now. What can we tell the audience here about that funeral scene and what it means in the course of the story?
Well, we can't tell you guys too much. You want to come see the movie and see who's being buried, but
it's sad.
It's sad, and it is. Sophie's character goes full Phoenix and is destructive and lethal in this film, and kills and really hurts a lot of people. And one of those people is in that grave in that scene. And as Tye was saying, because Jean/Phoenix starts to unravel and starts to become this destructive, malevolent force that she can't control, that also has a cosmic element to it as well, like the comics, which we didn't explore before. Because of all that, like Tye was saying, the family starts to split apart. And that funeral is, in a way, kind of the middle of the movie where they really start to fracture as a family.
Sophie, you seem to have a certain conflict or relationship with Jessica Chastain's character, who I think we only know her as Smith now. Pretty sure that's, you know, a little bit of subterfuge there.
Yeah, that's not her character's name.
That's not her character's name. I know you're not going to tell us anything about what her real character's name is, but what is the relationship between Jean Grey and her character in the film?
Well, Jean, during this movie, she kind of acquires this cosmic force, and Jessica's character is very interested in what that means and what it means to have that and how someone could utilize that. And so that's what Jessica is very interested in. And she very much kind of nurtures Jean, and they have a very, very interesting relationship that I can't talk about.
You are clearly gifted at doing this. You've been doing this a long time with your other day job there on that whatever TV show. Whatever that show is, I think some people might watch it. Simon, do we get any cool grunge scenes in this to establish the decade that the film takes place in?
Well, when we were making the movie, on these movies, you have like a code name for the film, so that wherever you're shooting the movie, they don't know that it's an X-Men movie. And the code name, I'll only tell you this, was Teen Spirit, because it smells like Teen Spirit. So there are definitely nods to the 90s in the movie, but we didn't want to go too far. We wanted it to feel more classic, something that would stand the test of time, that wouldn't be too much about the period and would really be much more about the characters.
Are we seeing any new X-Men characters introduced on the big screen for the first time? Like, say, Dazzler.
Wow, tough question.
Really? No Dazzler fans out there? Come on!
I'll say I'm a big Dazzler fan too, and I'll leave it at that. But there are new characters from the X-Men comics that we will see in the film.
For Sophie and Tye, we saw the new X-Men costumes. We didn't see you in the X-Men costume, I don't think. Do you guys like the new looks that the team has?
They're very sweaty.
They're very warm, yeah. And especially in the sun.
But it's cool because they're kind of a nod to the like original X-Men comics costumes, and I think that's really cool. I think the fans will be really happy with that. Very sad. I think that's something that you really wanted to capture, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I got to direct one of these movies, and so I was like, I may not get another chance. I really want to finally see those costumes on screen, so that's why we went with those costumes.
It looked a little bit like the costumes from Grant Morrison's run too. It was very nice, very nice touch. Sophie, which of your fellow actors was the biggest pain in the butt bothering you about Game of Thrones spoilers?
Oh, thank you. I think it's always Jen. Jen is like obsessed with Game of Thrones and always wants to get spoilers. Simon too is obsessed with it. That's not true. He hasn't watched it.
Wow. Under the bus.
That's okay. I still love him. Yeah, she's always trying to get spoilers out of me, especially when we're like out drinking. So it's hard for me. But it's okay. I'm pretty tight-lipped.
Okay, we have a fun game we like to play called Roll for Question, where we roll the dice and we ask you a question corresponding to the number. Tye, why don't you do the honors so we can get a couple fun, silly questions here for the audience. We got 15?
16.
Oh, perfect timing.
Okay.
You're in a huge Game of Thrones battle. What's your weapon of choice? Go.
God, can I delegate this question?
No.
I don't think he watches.
Poison.
You got help there. Well, Dave, you
No, I didn't.
Relax. I know you've got this answer. Hutch.
Don't you want Simon to answer?
I'm gonna go with poison too.
I'm going with a crossbow.
Solid choice. Sophie, what would be your weapon of
Well,
choice?
you can zigzag if there's a crossbow coming at you.
I'm still sticking with the crossbow.
I would say poison too.
You guys are all mean.
Okay,
That's mean.
I want to give another answer then. And how about an iron samurai sword?
Not in the universe, but okay, we'll go with it.
Whatever.
We'll go with it. Okay,
I just
sure.
revealed all my cars. I just revealed that I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, Mr. Director, you roll next. No, roll it again. We'll keep getting that one. 6.
Nice.
Who would play us in the big budget movie version of this conversation?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, Hutch Parker was an actor when he was younger, so I think Hutch could play Hutch.
Yeah.
Who would play Sophie? I mean, this is the big budget version of these two.
Yeah.
No, we're like B-level actors.
You can say who would play me. I don't know.
Oh, for Simon, who would play Simon? Probably
Sam Elliott.
That's a tough one.
Oh, Sam Elliott.
Bradley Cooper.
That's very kind.
How about for Tye? Who would be the big budget version of this conversation playing Tye Sheridan?
Miles Teller. That's hilarious.
Nicolas Cage?
Yes!
Yes, I like that.
amazing.
I like that a
Perfect.
lot.
Done, sir. Well done. Okay, one last roll. Sophie, you can do the honors.
Ten.
10 for the last question. You're stuck on a desert island. What inanimate object do you hope becomes your best friend, and what do you call it?
These are random questions.
Wilson?
They're the best kind.
Wilson? Well, I don't know.
I'm going with my iPhone. I'm keeping my iPhone. That's that.
What would you name it, though?
Siri.
I'm going to go Bob. I think my iPhone's name is Bob.
Okay. Kind of weird that you've named your iPhone already, but okay. Tye, save us here.
I would have a tractor. But does that count? Is that?
You're terrible at this game. You're terrible at this game. Come on, Sophie. Final answer for you.
I mean, I'd probably, you know what? I'd have some Mountain Dew, and I'd name it Dew.
Hi, I'm Jackie Jennings with SYFYWIRE. If you can't get enough of New York Comic Con, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel for news, interviews, cosplay, and so much more. What are you waiting for?